Welcome back to each one, everybody. Shalom. Thanks for joining me for the continuation of Christianity versus the Bible. We are in the Revelation portion of it, which I aforementioned in earlier lessons, letting you know that we were going to get to this point, to hammer it home and prove the point once and for all, who the people are and how Christianity, what it teaches, is completely contrary to the Bible. Okay, so we ended the last video in Revelation chapter 12. So we're going to pick up in Revelation chapter 13. All right, Revelation chapter 13. And let's start in verse 11. All right. Revelation 13 and 11. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth. And he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had the power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which hath a wound by a sword and did live. Y'all got to pardon the work going on outside. They're getting busy out there, and I'm not shutting down and stopping this work because of what they got going on out there. Their work don't stop the Lord's work. All right. So I'm just going to speak up a little louder and hope that I drown out that noise out there and you guys can hear me all right. All right. So let's continue. And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and to cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Now, this is the persecutions of the non-Christians. This is the Catholic Church and the Christians during the Inquisitions, when they began to go all over the place, go throughout the world and persecuting all of those who had a different faith. If you were Muslim, if you were an Islam, if you were, an Israelite, or whatever else you believed in, the Catholic Church and the Christian church in tandem, which are basically one and the same, all right, went about the world persecuting all those who would not bow down to the image of the beast, which is the image of your Jesus. That's the image of the beast, all right? That is the image of the beast. Your Jesus is the beast. That his image is the image of the beast. That picture that goes around that everybody bows down to, that they make statues out of and engraven images out of, and they force by the sword and by the gun, force people to convert into Christianity at the threat of death if they wouldn't bow down to the image of the beast. That's who the book speaks of. It speaks against what you believe in. The book is contrary to your belief system. How did you not see it? Because you were in the darkness. I understand how. That was a rhetorical question. I didn't really want to answer to that. I just really wanted you to ask the question to yourself. All right, for yourself. All right. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And that's what they did. They went around killing anybody that did not want to convert into Christianity. Verse 16, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Now, this is forward into the end, because we know, America is a Christian nation, and Christianity, is probably the biggest religion out there now, and it's running the world, right? He causes all both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. The Bible warns against Christianity. It warns against Christians. It's not in favor of you. It warns against you. Try to show the people who this book was written to and for how to spot the enemy, how they would come, what would be their tactics, what they would do, so that we know who these people were, so we can identify you. This book is anti-Christianity. It's anti-Christian. It's anti-Jesus. Revelation chapter 14, the Lamb and the 144,000 on Mount Zion, the Lamb and his bride. Revelation chapter 14, verse 1. And I looked, and lo, a Lamb stood on the Mount Zion. Remember, that's the southern kingdom of Israel. That's Judah. See, it doesn't say he's on it doesn't stand with Christians. There's another reference to him being with his people. Another reference to him being with his people. Not his people being thrown away, but a reference to him being with his people. And this is end time prophecy. So if Christianity says the people are thrown away and forsaken, but the book says that in the end times, the Son of the Most High will come and stand with his people, who's wrong? Your doctrine or the book? Your pastors or the Most High? Who's wrong? Continuing on. And I looked, and lo, a Lamb stood on Mount Zion, and with him 144,000. There goes that 144,000 again that we showed before are his elect. Those are those who are special to him, though. That's the Lamb's bride, right? That's the church. That's his body. That's the head and his body together. Because the Christian church is not the body. You are not the body. His body is the 144,000 that you see him mentioned with right here, having his Father's name written in their foreheads. And I heard a voice from heaven, as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of a great thunder. And I heard the voice of harpers harping with their harps. And they sung as it were a new song before the throne and before the four beasts and the elders. And no man could learn that song but the 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth. That's the rapture. They're pulled out of the earth before the hour of temptation begins, and they go to heaven. They go to the marriage with the Lamb. That's where they were redeemed out of the earth just before the Great Tribulation. And that's what happened when they went to heaven. These are they which were not defiled with women. This meaning is not what you believe, Christian. All right. This has nothing to do with not being defiled with actual women. All right. It means that they were not defiled with other doctrines, other belief systems. They're not in Christianity. They're not in Islam. They're not in Hinduism. They're not atheists or this or that. They're not defiled with women. All of these different religions are considered women. Why? Because women seduce men. Men are seduced by women. Men are lured by women. And so his men, these men that was belong to him, were not seduced by these other women, aka these other religions. They were not lured away from him by these other women, these other religions, okay? For they are virgins, spiritual virgins. They only belong to him. These are they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. Remember that we read in the earlier video how he asked the Father that he would not take them out of the earth, but that they would be able to come and join him where he is. And that's what this is saying. These are they who are able to follow him wherever he goeth. And where did he go? To heaven. He went before the Father's throne. And these are they which will be allowed to go where he is, before the Father's throne. These were redeemed from among men. Why? Being the first fruits unto the Most High and to the Lamb. First fruits. There's another term that if you don't read the Old Testament, you're not going to understand what that's about. So again, there's another reference to the Old Testament, the first fruits, another reference to the Old Covenant, to the old law, to the old way of doing things, which you're not going to understand because you're a Christian, and under Christianity, you throw away all things Old Testament. They're the first fruits, the first to ripen, the first fruit, the first spirits created after Yahushua. Yahushua was the first. And then these were they created after him. Because in the end time, the harvest takes place in the order of creation. Yahushua was the first of the first fruits. He was the firstborn of all the firstborn spirits. So he was harvested first by the Father. Then these who he created after him were the first fruits after him, the first spirits created. So they're taken out of here first, because if you garden or farm, you understand that the first planted, first harvested. You know, again, that does depend on what you're growing, because I do garden stuff myself. So I understand that you can plant some tomatoes today, and then, 2 weeks later, you can plant some lettuce, and the lettuce will be ready to harvest before the tomatoes, because the lettuce, you know what I'm saying, it matures faster. But, let's not be that technical to where we're stupid. All right? Because we're talking about like things, not things that are different. We're talking about like items, okay? Like items. All right? Being the first fruits unto the power and to the Lamb. And then their mouth was found no guile, for they are without fault before the throne of the Most High, without spot, without blemish. They are the first fruit. Okay? See, the scriptures really leave you Christians in a tight spot. It leaves you in a tight spot, and you can't wiggle out of it. You can't get past this. You have to deal with it. Revelation chapter 15, verse 1. And I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, 7 angels having the 7 last plagues, for in them is filled up the wrath of the Most High. And I saw, as it were, a sea of glass mingled with fire, and them that had gotten the victory over the beast, and over his image, and over his mark, and over the number of his name, stand on the sea of glass, having the harps of the Most High. This is the remnant, right? And they sing the song of Moses, the servant of the Most High, and the song of the Lamb, saying, great and marvelous are thy works, Lord power almighty. Just and true are thy ways, thou King of saints. King of saints. And again, we remember, we exhausted the topic, right? Of the saints. The saints are Israelites. He's the King of saints. So, Song of Moses. What's up with this saying? And they sing the song of Moses, the servant of the Most High. Why are the Christian believers going to be singing the song of Moses, the servant of the Most High? There's another reference to an Israelite again, right? Highlighting an Israelite again. And these people are going to be singing the song of Moses. But how would the Christians know the song of Moses? And they have nothing to do with the Old Testament. They aren't Israelites for the most part. But there are many Israelites who are Christians, right? But they aren't going to know this song because they're Christians. Because they're Christians, they're Israelites that don't know the Song of Moses. How are you going to sing a song you don't know? You never heard, never read, right? That you want nothing to do with, because that was the Old Testament, though. That was the Old Testament. I don't got nothing to do with the Old Testament. So how are you Christians going to be these people that are singing the Song of Moses? And you have nothing to do with the Old Testament. You, by your own admission, the Old Testament is nothing to you. It's nothing to be regarded. So it makes no sense. It makes no sense at all. But let's continue. Revelation 16. Let's start with verse 1. And I heard a great voice out of the temple saying to the seven angels, go your ways and pour out the vials of the wrath of the Most High upon the earth. And the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth. And there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worship his image. So now the people who have the mark of the beast, anybody who took the mark of the beast, are going to be destroyed. You know what I mean? They're going to have all of these grievous sores and such that are going to come upon them. They're going to deal with things. You know, they're going to health. You know, their health is going to drastically decline because they took the mark of the beast, right? And upon them which worship his image, which is talking about you Christians. So even whether or not you took the mark or not, you're still gonna go through what they're gonna go through. So it don't matter that you don't take it. You're still gonna share in their agony, in their pain, in their punishment, in their judgment. You're gonna experience it with them hand in hand. Because even though you didn't get the mark yourself, you still worship the people, the beast that brought the mark. So you got to get it. Got to get it. And that speaks to you Christians. All right. And the second angel poured out his vial upon the sea, and it became as the blood of a dead man, and every living soul died in the sea. And the third angel poured out his vial upon the rivers and fountains of waters, and they became blood. And I heard the angel of the waters say, thou art righteous, O Lord, which art and wast and shall be, because thou hast judged thus. For they have shed the blood of saints and prophets. You know, saints and prophets were Israelites. There were no prophets that were not Israel. Okay? And his saints, as we exhausted, are Israelites. And thou hast given them blood to drink, for they are worthy. For they are worthy. That's what you got coming. Revelation 17, verse 1. And there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, come hither. I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. America is the great whore which sitteth upon many waters. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. Listen, full of the names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. That's a shout out to you Europeans. All right. Some will say the 7 heads is a reference to the seven mountains, right? The 7 mountains which Rome, Italy sits on, right? Some will say that 7 heads is a reference to 7 continents, all right? And the 10 horns, and these 10 horns, the 10 horns represent powers, kingdoms, 10 kingdoms. And these are 10 European kingdoms, 10 European nations. All right. And many of you Christians are Europeans. You are from the bloodline, your bloodline and your people, your nationhood goes back to these 10 horns. Look what the book speaks against you and your people and your nation, right? And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints, because these nations, America and the nations that are her counterparts and her what was the word I'm looking for? Her partners in crime, I guess you could say, right? Part of her confederacy, they have heavily persecuted, enslaved, and killed the Israelites, the saints. And with the blood of the martyrs of Yahushua, because many were killed by the Christians for their testimony of Yahushua, because they refused to believe on Jesus as the Son of the Most High. They knew better. They knew who the Son was, and they refused to believe on Jesus. So they were martyred. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. Verse 12. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, because at the time when John is getting the revelation, they didn't exist yet. They didn't have a kingdom yet, right? But receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. Exactly, because they are in tandem with the beast. These have one mind and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. Exactly. They're all on one accord. These shall make war with the Lamb. Listen, and these nations are going to make war with the Lamb. Your people, Christians, are going to make war with the Lamb. And the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is Lord of lords and King of kings. And they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. Who are those that are with him? The elect, the 144,000, his bride. They are called and chosen. That's what elect means. And faithful. He is Lord of lords and King of kings, because his elect are lords under him, and they're kings under him. The rulers, and they are not you Christian believers. They are men of Israel, the future rulers of the world that you've been stomping on and crushing and persecuting. These are your future rulers, the beloved bride of Yahushua. That should give you sleepless nights. Seriously. But let's continue. Verse 15. And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the horse sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. Because those 10 nations, those European nations, are going to turn against America. They're going to turn on America. For the Most High hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of the Most High shall be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city, which reigneth over the kings of the earth. Again, that's how you know it's America, as America reigns over all the other nations, other powers of the earth. All right. So, yeah, let's continue. Chapter 18, Revelation chapter 18, verse 1. And after these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. And so I'm going to echo this right now to my people who may be in the Christian church. Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. Come out of her, my people, for her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High hath remembered her iniquities, because you pay for your past. It doesn't just matter what's going on in the present. You pay for your past. And because regeneration is a thing, and this isn't your first life, you do have to pay for what you've done in your previous lives. Okay? So you can shut up all that talk, but I never persecuted anybody. I never had any slaves. I never killed anybody. I never did this or that and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but the Most High has a record of what you've done in all your lives. And if in any of those you have been a persecutor of Israel in any fashion, you're in trouble. Verse 6. Reward her even as she rewarded you. See, this is how you know it's talking to a people that is a nation and not to a collection of believers. Reward her even as she rewarded you. Because these people, remember, if America is a Christian nation, America didn't persecute Christians. So how can this be a reference to Christians? It's not. It has to be a reference to the people who, the Christian powers, who this nation has persecuted, has trampled on. What people did this nation trample on? The so-called blacks, right? The so-called Negroes, right? The so-called African Americans, right? Right? And the Latinos that are of Negro descent, and the indigenous Americans that are of Negro descent, right? Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her double according to her works, meaning pay her back. Do unto her as she did unto you, because the Most High has promised revenge to his people, Israel. He's promised that everything they went through, they would be allowed to inflict the same upon their enemies, but double. Double. In the cup which she hath filled, fill to her double. Meaning everything that she put you through, you're going to put, everything these people put you through, you're going to do it to them, but you're going to give them double what they gave you. All praise, honor, and glory to the Holy One of Israel, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. It is a righteous thing to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you. Roughly paraphrasing. Payback is coming. Payback is righteous. All of that, the Most High loves everybody. If he loves everybody and want to save everybody, why is he going to allow his people, his Israelites, to get payback on all the nations that have persecuted them, slaughtered them, and kept them down on the bottom, and despised them and hated them all of the time? Why does he promise them payback on the people that he loved? That makes no sense, right? Verse 15, the merchants of these things which were made rich by her shall stand afar off for the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing, and saying, alas, alas, that great city that was clothed in fine linen and purple and scarlet, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, For in 1 hour, that's the hour of temptation, for in 1 hour, so great riches is come to naught, and every shipmaster and all the company in ships and sailors, and as many as trade by sea, stood afar off and cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, what city is like unto this great city? And they cast dust on their heads and cried, weeping and wailing, saying, alas, alas, that great city, wherein were made rich all that had ships in the sea by reason of her costliness. For in 1 hour is she made desolate. Rejoice over her, thou heaven, and ye holy apostles. Who were the holy apostles? Israelites. And prophets. Who are the Israelites? Who are the prophets? Israelites, right? For the Most High hath avenged you, Israelites, on her. I know you heard that. Verse 24, and in her was found the blood of prophets and of saints and of all that was slain upon the earth. In her was found the blood of prophets and of saints. Right? America did not persecute Christians. They did not kill off the Christians. America didn't kill off its white population and persecute its white population. So how is its white population going to be the saints? Doesn't make any damn sense. We know the white people were not the prophets of the Bible. It was Israelites. So how can that be a reference to you European Christians? How can it be a reference to you Christians of any nation besides Israel? Doesn't make sense. All right. Revelation chapter 19, verse 1. And after these things, I heard a great voice of much people in heaven saying, Hallelujah, salvation and glory and honor and power unto the Lord our God. For true and righteous are his judgments. For he hath judged the great whore, which did corrupt the earth with her fornication, and hath avenged the blood of his servants at her hand. His servants, his people, Israel, the so-called Negroes. I'm telling you, these are his servants. These are his people. These are the people that need to be avenged. These are the people that were done wrong at the hands of the great whore, not Christians. And again, they said, Hallelujah. And her smoke rose up forever and ever. And the 24 elders and the 4 beasts fell down and worshiped the Most High that sat on the throne, saying, Amen, Hallelujah. And a voice came out of the throne saying, Praise our God, all ye his servants. All ye his servants who are Israelites. We've covered this. We've been over this. We beat this horse to smithereens. And ye that fear him, both small and great. Right? All ye his servants and ye that fear him, both small and great. So this is the elect of Israel and the remnant of Israel. And I heard, as it were, the voice of a great multitude, and as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of mighty thunderings, saying, Hallelujah, for the Lord power, omnipotent, reigneth. Marriage of the Lamb. Marriage of the Lamb. Let us be glad and rejoice and give honor to him, for the marriage of the Lamb is come, and his wife hath made herself ready. And to her was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white. For the fine linen is the righteousness of saints. Right? His wife hath made herself ready. Remember, his wife, that's the elect of Israel, who are going to be taken out of here before the hour of temptation begins. And that's what we're doing. We are being made ready. We're making ourselves ready for his return right now. This is what we're doing. We are making ourselves ready, right? And we will be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white. For the fine linen is the righteousness of saints. And he saith unto me, right, blessed are they which are called unto the marriage supper of the Lamb. And he saith unto me, these are the true sayings of the Most High. And I fell at his feet to worship him. And he said unto me, see, thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant and of thy brethren. Hear that? You hear that? Listen, so this angel, this person talking to John, told John, don't fall down at my feet. I'm your fellow servant and of thy brethren. I mean, I'm an Israelite like you. I'm from Israel too. We are both of Israel, man. We're on the same level. Don't be bowing down at my feet. I'm your fellow servant, not above you, and I'm of your brethren. I'm not your master, right? I'm thy fellow brethren that have the testimony of Yahushua, not of Jesus. See, we have the testimony of our Yahushua. You Christians have the testimony of your Jesus. Me and my fellow servants of the elect, we have the testimony of our Yahushua. Worship the Most High, for the testimony of Yahushua is the spirit of prophecy. And this is the reason why you can't understand prophecy, Christians, because the spirit of prophecy is given to you, those who have the testimony of Yahushua. Okay? And I saw heaven opened, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True. And in righteousness he doth judge and make war, right? Doth judge and make war. His eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns. And he had a name written that no man knew but himself. He had many crowns because he's going to destroy all the nations of the earth and take their crowns. So he's going to become the king of the earth by defeating the rulers of all the nations of the earth. Again, so you know it's not about love and peace and harmony and, you know, loving everybody and so forth. He's talking about judging and making war and destroying people, right? And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, right? Why is his clothing look like it's dipped in blood? Because it's going to be so much killing. He's going to do so much killing. And his name is called the Word of the Most High. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. Remember who was dressed up in fine linen, white and clean? The elect, the Lamb's bride, right? The Lamb's bride. So prove that the Lamb's bride, those 144,000, they make up his armies. They're the host. They're the heavenly host, the heavenly army. And they're going to return with him after their marriage on white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. Do you women in Christianity that believe that you are of the elect, you are the Lamb's bride, that he's going to come back with you, that you're going to be part of his army, that the Most High recruits and brings women into his army? No. That's something that Europeans do. That's something that the white man does on this earth. That's not protocol. That's not decent, right? That's not orderly according to the Most High. Again, more proof that the elect are all men, because these are his soldiers. These are his heavenly host, right? And out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, that with it he should smite the nations. See, he should smite the nations, because it's all about nations versus nations. It's Israel versus everybody else. You can't be a collection of believers, because he doesn't love all you different people from all the different nations. He only loves Israel, and he promises to smite the nations. This includes all of these nations, all of these people from all of these nations that call on Jesus, that call themselves being Christian believers. You are going to be among these people that he will smite. And he shall rule them with a rod of iron. He shall rule you, not love you, not pamper you, not give you gifts and blessings. He shall rule you with a rod of iron. Now, it will be a blessing. Some will be blessed to get a lesser form of bondage. There's levels to everything. Remember, there's levels to everything. And there's levels to bondage. All right? If all you other nations, those of you who aren't killed, you will become the inheritance of Yahushua and his elect. You will be taken as slaves. You will go into bondage, but there's levels. So it does matter what you do. It does matter if you try to cling or not. It does matter. So you might want to get it together. Okay. And he hath on his vesture and on his thigh a name written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Like I said before, that name signifies the fact that he is the King of Kings, because his bride will be the kings of the earth and the lords of the earth and all of creation. And he will be the king over these kings and the Lord over these lords, because they are his body. He will rule through them. His body, meaning he is the head. He gives commands and his body executes. That's what the head does. The head is in charge of giving commands to the rest of the body. The hands and feet and the rest of your body don't do anything without the brain, the head, giving it instructions and giving it commands first. And that's what it represents, him as the head and his body being his bride. The 144,000 elect men of Israel are his body that he will control, who will do his bidding. He will rule over everything through them. Through them. The same people that you persecute and hate will rule over you, and you will be at their mercy. You should be very afraid. I mean, very afraid. So with that, we're going to wrap this up right here. I pray you guys were edified. Stay tuned for the next one. Let us give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Hamashiach, Yahushai, Wahar, Rakakadash. Shalom.